Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 9th, 2022 at approximately 6:22 a.m. PST. Well, I sure turned my office into a shambles. The thing is, when we talk about the home, before I get into that, I returned to this world at this time for one primary purpose, and that is to remind everyone in existence that working together we can make this a better world for most people. Now, I classify myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are exactly the same tools that I personally use when they apply to me, and the philosophies of life I talk about are the ones I live by. Now, the only advantage I've got over many people in a lot of ways is most of you pay attention to what are the laws of the road, what are the laws of society, what are the laws in your church, or what are the laws in your support group. Okay, and you'll have a stack of laws that's incredible. I only pay attention to three. But if you compare the ones you follow, these three laws encompass all of them. I only have to remember three is a nice little part. Okay, but those three laws are the karmic laws. Those being, be true to yourself first, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. Now, where it comes to changing all of that around for you, is this neat little sign here, and I've shown it to you multiple times, but if you're just joining us, great, welcome aboard. But this little sign, these four words, I am worth it. Okay, I keep that sign right handy with me. I've got another copy on my fridge freezer in the kitchen, and I've got another copy on my front door. This way, I constantly remind myself that the effort I'm putting in is beneficial for me and is very necessary for my life turnaround. How well does it work? Well, let's see. I go back, I spent my entire life up until I was 56. Okay, I'm now 59. But up until I was 56, I spent my entire life hanging on to stuff. And it has became a very bad habit in my eyes. But it started with my grandfather, born in 1902. Every member of my bloodline became a pack rat. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I'm the only one that's actually broken that. But I tell you, you spend 56 years collecting clutter. When I talk about removing the clutter, this is a massive problem. Okay. Now, I've got to sort it out. And the reality behind that is that we're not just talking the physical clutter. We are also talking about the energetic clutter and the clutter on your computer. This is the first time in centuries that society has evolved to the point where if something happens, there is no record of us. There's none, or very minimal anyway. 40,000 years ago, the Lemurians had done exactly the members of the Lemurian Empire on Earth had done exactly the same thing. They got their society so well built. There's about 10,000 years of massive societal growth that just got lost. Now, mankind, we've only got about 50 years of absolute growth, and probably only 20 that's been extreme, that got wiped out. Okay, and with that in mind, there's a lot that has to be passed on. A lot of change has to happen in society. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how we got to where we are. The reality is that society has taken a turn for what I consider the worst. You take a look at what it's doing. Okay. The political laws are skewed. The educational guidelines are almost non-existent. Okay, we're not raising people to think. Okay, we're raising people to obey. And that doesn't work well. This is why you've got people that are breaking the boundaries in very volatile fashions, because passive breaking doesn't seem to be making much impact. It does work, and I certainly encourage change to be done passively from within the system. The system itself is not technically broken, but the the primary operators are going down a very bad path in a lot of ways. You know, if I take a look, and let's bring it back into the house, okay? Because in my own house, I have not done everything I should have done. Okay, and now I'm having to turn it around. Okay, I've got a munchkin that has his own challenges, but the reality is they can be worked around. Very much like when I had the stroke, I lost the use of my left hand. Now I can actually reach over and without too terribly much trouble, grab my coffee. That may not seem like a real important thing from your end. From my end, kind of a necessary thing. Okay, now, but apparently my reaction time is a little weird, but so I'm looking at this list. I mentioned the other day I had forgotten what I'd done with the list. In order to get energy running properly, you've got to have an idea of what you're not content with. I don't know if you can see it. No, I don't think. Oh, you can just see the paper on the edge here. Just right here. Yeah, there we are. I'm trying to figure it out by looking the wrong way. Gives you an idea how much I back up while I'm driving, doesn't it? Okay, especially if I'm trying to get forward. But the reality is, I've been sorting paperwork out and going, okay, I'll put it in a box and sort it out afterwards. This didn't work worth a hoot. It's the same problem I ran into with my computer. Okay, at present, I've got some pretty serious problems with clutter on my computer. But the trick to getting your life running in the right direction is first and foremost, make sure that you understand that you yourself are worth the effort for you. Because you're the only one in existence that's going to be able to actually do anything with it. Okay. Now, from my standpoint, it's a pretty black and white little problem. Decide what you're not personally content with. By doing that, you'll be fine. And when you know it, that ain't going to work quite the way I want. So let's hope I don't scramble something. I've had to move the video up on the video feed. The reason I'm looking up here is that's where my camera is. The camera is actually on the lower screen. But I need access to the storyline I'm working on. And there we go. And hopefully that is right. Take that all the way down to the bottom. Okay, that's book 12 I need. This is a question of getting things organized. And I should have done it before I got on the computer here. But I didn't. Which gives you an idea how my day's going. Of course, I chalk it up to I didn't sleep as well as I would have liked. But get it straight in your own head. The energy in your life has to be, and that always draws my attention away. That's why I don't usually do that. Okay. You see, this is what you get. If you watch one of the way things go, I'm not going actually I will. Okay, I'm just gonna follow the screen, follow my monitors. Okay. First of all, we go up to that one up there, and then we move over to this one over here. And then we bring it down to the third one. And now I can bring it back over. Okay, and that's all four monitors I work with. Again, it boils down to having something that you can organize, that you can work with. So, from my end, it's a pretty black and white little issue. Now, this one, the nice part about it is when we're talking about getting a list together, okay, because right now, the office itself is actually the brain of both your house and your home. And you personally are the cerebral cortex of your entire life. You're the one that's got control over it. Whether you do it automatically, whether you do it because of habitual training, that's your issue. But my issue, and the way I've always run my business, and the motto I've always gone by is, you know, the present, the future is our business. The present is your life. Well, where you are right now in life, we all have in common. You're right here, right now. No matter how you got to where you are. Okay. As it said in Beyond Thunderdome, wherever you go, there you are. Kind of an odd quote to remember, but what the heck. So, from my standpoint, it really boils down to when you put a list together, make sure the list has you keep it to 3, between 15 minutes and a half hour in length. Okay. See, I've got 3 things on my list right now. The journey, which is this video, which is recorded live. Okay. Which really boils down to this. When I get done, I double check the date and leave it at that. Now, to get the brand, to get your office working properly, to get the energy running right, we're talking about the feel of it. Now, I look around my office right now, and frankly, it's a little cluttered. So is my brain, by the way. But the trick to getting it all organized is real simple. Feng Shui works like a charm. If you get the energy in your house working properly, you won't have as big a problem. Okay, so what I'm working on right about now, I don't know what that is, so that can go up here. Yes, I just moved that off my office. Because quite frankly, I've got to get the clutter off my operating desk to get my brain actually working right. So that's okay, I can work with that. The nice little part about it from my end is that by working on the things that I am working on, I can actually get my life moving properly. But you have to understand, if you're not happy with your life, you're the only one that can tell if you are. Okay? But I will tell you, even if you happen to be a hoarder or a pack rat, okay, or for that matter, let's say you suffer from ADD or ADHD, and do understand, I was tested for it. Okay. And the way it was put to me by a professional psychiatrist, because I wanted to know what was off with me. Because I couldn't connect with people, I was getting told all sorts of things. And in all fairness, this was done only 2 years ago now, I guess, just before I started recording the journey. And what they told me was the easiest way to identify if you're actually ADD or ADHD. And understand, I'm not a medical doctor. This is what I was told. Okay, I don't know if it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but I was happy with the fact that a trained psychiatrist sat down with me and went, nope, if you were ADD or ADHD, you could not get anything accomplished on your own drive. Somebody would have to be constantly pointing it out to you. For me, I get a lot done. Okay, I just happen to do multiple things at once, as evidenced by the fact that I can no longer function well on only one monitor. So I put 4 up because it's easier to track. Makes it easier from my standpoint. The difficult part, of course, is trying to figure out exactly how to function. That is not the one I want. So that one's going to have to go. But no, from my standpoint, it's a very simple issue. Yeah, I told you. And let's shut that down before we get sidetracked again. When you're taking a look at it, now to get an idea on the energy in your own house, okay, in your own home, take your hands, palms apart. And I think I'm probably going to look at this a lot as a matter of fact, I know I will. I'll have to go back and double check that. I was about to ask, I was literally about to go, mind telling me if I covered Atlantis last Saturday? I'm pretty certain I did. If not, I do apologize for that. I'll double check it. But the next one on my list is, yeah, the next one, I wonder if I did that. Let's go to that and see what happens. I'm looking at when, gee, did we ever get scrambled today? So I'll apologize for that. Should have apologized ahead of time, but what the heck? When you're dealing with the energy in your home, it starts right here. To feel what that feels like, take your palm, your hands, turn the palms towards each other, and say keep them separated about a quarter inch, and you'll feel a little energy running between your hands. You may describe it as any number of things. Okay, I've heard it described as heat, as energy. Literally, I've heard it described as bubbles. Okay, I've heard it described as wind. There's a lot of different ways, and how you interpret it is up to you. But when you take your hands and you put it about a quarter inch apart, you'll be able to feel the energy running between your hands. Now, when people are telling you they're an energy healer, okay, that's literally how close they should have to get, at the closest. Okay, the ones that tell you they're an energy healer and they have to put their hands on you, they have to physically touch you, that's not true energy work. That's that's pressure connection, and there's a lot of great value in it. But understand, the two most common areas for energy to really jam itself is in your solar plexus or in the groin area. Now I'll tell you, if I have to have physical energy to release those two, if I've got to have physical contact to release those two spots, bearing in mind that 75% roughly of the clients I deal with are female. Okay, how much work in the field of energy healing or energy acceleration do you really think I'd be making? But you take a look at the energy in your home. Feng Shui works really great. Okay, and all you have to recognize is whether you're content with the way your life is running or whether you're not. You don't have to know where it's heading. Because what you do is you look at what you've got in your area. Like when you look around, take a look and see, are you content with it? Is this working towards a goal that you personally have? Something you personally desire to accomplish? If it is not working, if it is hindering your growth, it is imperative that you really focus and start altering the energy flow in order to accommodate it. If you desire a stream to run properly, and it's full of clutter and full of dirt and full of junk, okay, it's not going to flow smoothly. Okay, picture trying to empty a sink of water. You pull the plug on, if the pipeline is not empty, that water is not going very far, so you've got to clear the junk out of the way. Same applies to the energy in your life. If you don't clear the clutter out of the way, and the first place you start is in the brain. Okay, and I do mean the physical brain. So in this case, I am talking about changing the layout, the energy flow in the office of your house, your home, your business, whichever. Clear the energy, clear the clutter out of the way there so your brain will work properly. I know that's why my brain's gone on hold. I've got so much, but what I've done is I put a bunch of paperwork into a box and then realized I was adding boxes again. So I went, nope, just pull it all out, put it on my painting desk, and I will go through it and file it one step at a time. Each page will either get filed where it belongs, or it will end up in the garbage, which, by the way, means it's where it belongs. Get the energy running smoothly in that fashion. Okay, and remember, you can sit there and blame everybody you choose. I can blame everybody. I can blame my parents. I can blame anybody I chose to say this is why I'm a pack rat. It explains it certainly, but it does not take. It's not anybody else's responsibility. So now what I'm doing is going, okay, my responsibility I got here doesn't matter how long it took you to get where you are. It certainly wasn't overnight. Okay. But the only way that's going to change is by altering the path you're on. Okay, by altering the path yourself. The reality is that all the excess information you have won't do a thing for you if you don't get up and actually utilize the tools. Okay, it's like the books that I've been writing. Okay, they are not going to sell if I don't start putting out the information they're available. Don't like that. If you don't pay attention to your own life and go, I'm taking control of it, I'm doing the dominant work. If you're working with somebody, like in my case, I'm working with people that are helping me. But if I don't get on the horn and say, this is what I require, and I don't put the effort into it, okay, they're not going to see it as valuable either. Okay, you're the one that has to push the energy to correct your own life. You can have all the encouragement in the world, but if you don't get off the couch, it ain't going to change. Now, the reality behind it is you've got the ability. There used to be a commercial on way back in the 70s and all it was a 15-second commercial. It had no sale value to it. Like it wasn't selling a product. I'm sure if you're around my age and you've got a functional memory, you'll remember this one. It was a series of different little ones called "You've Got the Power," and that's all it did. It just this little 15-second blurb. It was great. They weren't selling anything. They weren't trying to convince you to buy something or to go someplace. The whole purpose seemed to be to remind you have the power. You're the one that can get up and make things happen. Okay, and you're the only one in existence that can do that. Same as for me. You're no different than I am in that respect. Okay, you may be different from the standpoint of I've taken it to here and gone, I'm the only one in existence that's going to be able to do it. Now, I mean, I was really happy. I used to be, where it comes to my goal to drop my weight. Okay, again, it boils down to getting rid of the excess. Part of the reason I'm certain of it, okay, and I have had other psychologists and psychiatrists confirm this. Many times when people put on weight, there's two major factors. One, people on the whole cannot do a lot about. Okay, and that is if it's medically induced. In other words, if you're on a medication that causes you to gain weight or causes you to stop losing it, or you've got a medical condition such as and I don't know if it's hyper or hypo, but if your thyroid is screwed up or your adrenal glands, you may have a massive problem getting rid of weight that you don't desire. Other than that, putting on weight seems to be an issue of two factors. One, you've gone through some sort of emotional trauma and you use that weight as an excuse. Okay, I use the clutter around my house for the same reason. If I have an absolutely cluttered house, I don't desire people to see that. If you've put on excess weight, then the odds are what's happened is either you've got and these are the two that are controllable as far as coping with them and working past them. Okay, the medical, that's another issue. But if you've gone through major trauma, okay, many people will hang on to weight no matter how hard they try consciously to drop it. Their subconscious will hold on to that weight and stop it from clearing out of the way in order to make themselves less attractive, less appealing to other people. Okay, that's one. The other one is many people, and this is how I got into a problem. I didn't have a great childhood, don't get me wrong. Not in some ways. Military laboratories are not a place to hang around. It's not like being sent to a fun house, to an amusement park. But I used to get bored. I still get bored, but I used to get bored and eat. net result, and this wasn't bad, from many of your standpoint, I only got to 246 pounds. That's nowhere near what I used to be at. And that's nowhere near what some of you have unfortunately gotten to. Don't like that word. Okay. Many of you have put on that weight. You got bored, so you ate. I used to do it all the time. Yes, I still drink coffee, but it's pretty weak coffee, realistically. According to the dietitian, I'm drinking coffee that really boils down to a flavor of water. But when we're talking about the clutter in your house, the way the energy clogs up, I let my house go and turn into an absolute shambles. I collected everything. I had it stuffed all over the place. And the reason being, part of it, looking at it now, was if I had clutter all over the place, I really didn't feel good about people coming in and seeing my house. I still don't like people coming in and seeing my house from the standpoint of, I don't like the extra people in here. Okay, but I had all the clutter around because if somebody came in, I could go, oh, I'm sorry, and they'll leave earlier. Now I'm looking at it going, no, I'm not tolerating this anymore. I'm changing it for me. I've just about hit the goal that I've got dropping the weight. The goal I've got getting the house sorted around, now that I've got it straight in my own head. And this is where you've got to get to. Take a look at the world around you and go, are you content with your life? The whole trick here is get rid of the clutter, your brain will work quicker. Get rid of the weight, you'll find your self-esteem climbs. And let's not go the route of I'm really comfortable at my current weight. You probably are. But comfort is often a case of familiar. Okay, and there's other things to go with it, but it's up to you what you're aiming at. It's like if you don't want to clear the clutter out of your house, in all fairness, it doesn't do a whole lot to me. I'm just telling you, if you desire to feel better, if you desire to feel more motivated, get the clutter, get the excess weight out of the way. It will help. You don't take my word for it. Okay, test it out for yourself. Start small. Okay, when I started dropping the weight, the first thing I noticed that was my bad leg didn't hurt as much. Now, and after that, it was just down we go. Now, like I was in a 38 pant waist. I then dropped down. I'm now down into a I was in a tight 38. I'm now into a loose 36. I'm quite pleased with that, but I'm doing it for me. Now, with that in mind, I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.